Congratulations. My name is Margaret Fisher. I'm one of the many, many volunteers for the Student Peace Awards of Fairfax County. There are times when feelings of powerlessness throw us into fear and rage and despair. Those are the emotions that hijack our brains and lead us to war. But we do have a power that is available to all of us and at all times. And that is the power of love to unlock our hearts and to open us up to new possibilities. As we come together today to celebrate the accomplishments of the students before us, may our joy be renewed, that we may go back into the world with the strength and the courage to be guided by love. Every October, we ask each high school in Fairfax County to choose one student or group of students who has made a substantial contribution to peacemaking. This is no easy task because there are so many students who do so many good things. Your schools chose you for showing by example how each of us can do work that supports peace. Occasionally, your work may be controversial. Celebrating your achievements helps us remember what goes into peacemaking. We strive to help create a world where all peoples may live together in peace and justice. We know that to advocate for the human rights of one people does not disparage or diminish or negate the human rights of any other people. This is not a zero-sum game. We recognize and honor the shared humanity of all of us. We strive to build community where people of all nationalities, creeds, and background may live and thrive together. We may not always agree on how to achieve peace, but we agree that we work towards positive relationships and a shared community. We'll start today with some thanks and with some introductions of some of our guests, two of whom will also be saying a few words. I will then invite you to, in turn, to stand up front while I read a few sentences about you. While I'm doing that, please turn and face the photographers. Okay, that's the trick, all right? And then after we've gone through all 28 schools, we'll have our guest speaking, Megan Corrado. Then you'll all stand in the front and have a group picture. Then you can have cookies. So please stay and chat for a little while so we can get to know you better afterwards. We have a book for each of you called Sweet Fruit from the Bitter Tree, which is a collection of true stories of ordinary people who suddenly found themselves in dangerous situations and who managed to get out of it without resorting to violence. For the past several years, the author, Mark Andreas, and his publisher have donated signed copies for us to give to you. I would like to extend some thanks to a few people. First, we're grateful to our friends from First Church of Christ Scientists who arranged for us to use this community center for our reception. And thanks to the 15 sponsoring organizations who make this program possible, and the volunteers in their roles of working with the schools, interviewing the students, writing and editing their profiles, helping with the reception, and presenting certificates at the end of the year. Thanks for everybody else for coming today to celebrate the accomplishments of these students. And especially thanks to any school staff members who have gone above and beyond every day at school and then came here to support their students. So if you're any of those school staff members, please stand up so we can acknowledge you. Now, I don't know if she's here today, but if she is, could Asani Kumar please stand up? Too bad she didn't make it. I hope she would. Asani is the artist who created the peace poster that's on the back of the program. We are extremely honored that 3 members of our school board are here with us today. And could each of you please stand up as I name you? But give me a second, because I'm on the wrong page here. Mateo Dunne was Mateo was elected last year representing the Mount Vernon district on the school board. He's an attorney, entrepreneur, PTA dad, and Sunday school teacher. And Ricardy Anderson. Dr. Anderson represents the Mason district. She has 23 years of experience in education as a teacher and principal in elementary and middle schools. She has served in numerous leadership roles in her 5 years on our school board. And Ryan McElveen. He is an at-large school board member and was the youngest elected official in Virginia at the time he was elected. He is the Associate Director for Brookings Institution, working on Chinese politics and society and U.S. policy. And we're also very happy to have Representative Gerry Connolly. Gerry was first elected to the U.S. House of Representatives for Virginia's 11th Congressional District in 2008 and is now serving his 9th term. Prior to being elected to Congress, Gerry served in many capacities on boards and committees in county administration, including chairman of the Board of Supervisors for 6 years. We're so glad that you were able to be here today, Gerry, and I'd now like to call him up to say a few words, followed by Ricardy Anderson, who will speak on behalf of the school board.
Thank you, Margaret. Good afternoon. I like coming to this ceremony every year because I believe that we live in troubled times. I guess everybody believes they live in troubled times. But ours are kind of special. And to celebrate a moment where we actually raise up the idea of peace is really a special occasion. What does it mean to be at peace? There's a personal peace we can achieve, and then there's a societal peace we strive for. As we look at the world you're going to inherit, we see the opposite of peace in the West Bank, in Gaza, in Israel, in Ukraine, in Sudan, in the Sahel, and in Syria. And we wonder, can we ever achieve peace? And what does it require of us? I'll tell you one thing about peace. Peace is hard fought. Peace does not come easy. It's not something that is a giveaway and that is taken for granted. We humans are complex beings. We're driven by ambition, insecurity, greed, as well as higher motivations of peace and love. Trying to harness what Lincoln referred to as the better angels of our nature is really the key to achieving peace. How do we appeal to that? We have to listen, but we have to act. We have to act. And that's where you come in. Your commitment to this concept of peace, has to be activated. We get involved in our communities. Somebody once said, you got to bloom where you're planted. Wherever you are, at any given moment, try to make sure that you respect that you're planted there, even if it's temporary, at school, you're going to get involved. Because getting involved in the community is the building block of peace. When you can create a stable community where people are accepting, tolerant, inclusive, there you can have peace. Here in Fairfax County, we've tried to do that. We've built a community that is diverse. Look around you. 1/3 of our population is foreign-born. But we didn't plant crosses and lawns. We didn't protest. We didn't have violent rallies. We accepted everybody. We welcomed everybody. because we believe that in building a diversified community, that's our strength. That's the future of America. That's how we build a peaceful, stable society. Not at each other's throats, but holding each other's hands. And so, what you're doing today isn't just being recognized. It's your contribution to this ongoing debate and dialogue of who are we? What do we want to be? How can we do it peacefully? Right now, our country is in turmoil. But you're the future. And if you're committed to the democratic principles of this country and trying to make sure we live up to those aspirations, we don't always. But America is always a project in work. We're always striving and aspiring to the goals we often fail to reach. And you're going to help remind us of that. You're going to push us. You're going to try to show us how it can be done in a better way to make a better country and a better society. So today's ceremony is really important. It's your first step in a lifetime of peacemaking. God bless you all. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I could not agree more with the words that have just been shared by the Congressman. Thank you for those stirring words. It is my honor to be here with you to celebrate this year's recipients of the Student Peace Awards, representing 28 high schools across Fairfax County. At a time when our world faces many challenges, it is the work of you, of the young people, who gives us hope. Whether you are advocating for social justice, fostering inclusivity, standing up against violence, or bringing people together through acts of kindness, you remind us that peace is not just a lofty idea. It is something that we should strive for and build every day through our words, actions, and decisions. The Student Peace Award shine a light on what is possible when young people lead with empathy and conviction. Your efforts make a difference, and I have no doubt that you will continue to inspire others for years to come. As a repeat attendee to this event, I have been inspired by the work that you have done. I have been impressed by your passion and your dedication. So thank you, first of all, for stepping out and leading in your schools and in our community. I'd also like to extend my warm appreciation to the families, to the educators and the mentors who supported you, students, in your journey. Your guidance, encouragement, and belief in their potential have helped shape into the compassionate leaders we see before us today. I'd also be remiss if I didn't recognize the volunteers and all the sponsoring partners and area participants who helped make this event a success. Thank you for your support and recognition of these exceptional students and peacemakers. Students, on behalf of the Fairfax County School Board, I thank you for your commitment to creating a more peaceful and just world. We are immensely proud of you, and we celebrate not just your accomplishments today, but the impact you will continue to have on the future. Enjoy this well-deserved recognition, and congratulations to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll start with Annandale High School and we'll run all the way to Woodson. And as I mention your name, please stand up and join one of our guests to receive your gift bag. And don't forget to turn around and look at the photographers. So from Annandale High School, we have Sage Nagel. Through her participation as a Student Equity Ambassador Leader and Superintendent Student Advisory Council member, Sage Nagel works with school staff across the county to bring equality to those around her and to prevent disparities based on race, gender, or ability. She organizes Annandale High School's Inclusion Revolution Week and Heritage Night, which provide an opportunity for Annandale students to share their cultures while bringing the Annandale community together in celebration and support. She is the president of Annandale's Special Olympics program and has organized events such as Fan Quest, a celebration that invites the entire school to cheer for Special Olympics athletes. She also works with students and staff from across the county to ensure that students of all backgrounds feel supported and respected. Thank you, Sage. Who's taking the pictures? There you go. Okay. All right. Oops. Okay, from Centerville High School, Jaden Lee. Jaden Lee established the Centerville High School chapter of Amnesty International, in which club members learn about and advocate for human rights. He is also the vice president of the school's Liberty in North Korea Club, which supports North Korean refugees through advocacy and fundraising. As the president of the school's UNICEF Club, he helps to organize fundraisers that assist children in poverty and promote awareness of their needs. In one such event, the Water Walk, students walk about 2 miles carrying a gallon of water, raising money for UNICEF while helping people concretely understand some of the challenges faced by children who have to walk long distances to obtain water for household needs. In addition, he is also helping to put together a database of local services and resources to make the information more accessible for students who are in need. Thank you, Jaden. From Chantilly High School, we have Nilla Alongavan. In the summer of 2024, Nilla Alongavan created a nonprofit organization called the Enlighten English Tutoring Program to help underprivileged students in grades 5 through 8 who struggle with the fundamentals of English reading, writing, and speaking. The program currently has 12 students of diverse backgrounds. The student leaders dedicate 5 to 7 hours each week to develop a curriculum that includes homework, slideshows, class projects, and games that enhance social interaction, and mini quizzes to ensure a thorough understanding of content. Nilla notes that extra tutoring help has traditionally been something that only well-to-do families could afford, and she wanted to be able to provide free tutoring help to those who face financial barriers. Thank you, Nilla. From Edison High School, Mia Martin Escandarani. Martin Escandarani has been working to counter anti-Semitism through dialogue and education. As part of the Jewish Community Relations Council's student-to-student program, she participates in conversations that allow space for respect, curiosity, and empathy between groups. She is a student ambassador and docent for the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. She is also participating in the Stand With Us Kenneth Leventhal High School internship program for student leaders who want to proactively impact their local schools and communities. Exchanges with people who disagree with her can be hard, but she has learned to remain calm and says, silence allows evil to take place. None of us can be bystanders. We must do something. Thank you. From Fairfax High School, Kiran Ashok. Kiran Ashok learned the basics of engineering, programming, problem solving, and teamwork as a competitor in events organized by First Robotics. Karen taught online coding classes and began to think about robotics as more of an opportunity to reach out and teach new students rather than just to compete for herself. She co-founded First for Youth in 2021, a nonprofit that deploys high school volunteers weekly to some of Fairfax County's low-income Title I schools to introduce FIRST robotics programs. So far, 58 volunteers have tallied 625 volunteer hours, started 15 tech teams, and raised a total of $22,445 with a combined impact on, put the comma in the wrong place, is this 2,350 students? Wow, okay, 2,350 students and families across Northern Virginia. Thank you. From Falls Church High School, Shri Bala. Shri Bala has worked at Falls Church High School and on a national level to promote sustainability and equity in urban architecture. She founded high school chapters of the American Institute of Architecture students, and of Habitat for Humanity, in which students help construct homes. She also founded Gold to Green, working with her school's engineering department to design and obtain equipment to create self-watering planter buckets to grow vegetables. Through a partnership with Hands-On Harvest, buckets and instructions were distributed to more than 80 Falls Church families to enable them to grow their own food. She self-published a book, Kai's Dream, to raise children's awareness of environmental and urban sustainability. And last year, she spoke on a national stage on minority representation and studio resource inequality in the architecture industry. Thank you, Shri. From Hayfield Secondary School, Ava Saunders and Grace Varghese. Ava and Grace are the co-presidents of the Hayfield chapter of SDA, Students Demand Action, a nonpartisan organization that works to end gun violence, advocating for common sense firearm legislation, promoting safe and secure storage of firearms, and endorsing political candidates based on their gun policies rather than on party affiliation. Ava and Grace have encouraged students in other schools to start their own SDA chapters, and they join marches and network with other organizations. They also went to Richmond for SDA's Advocacy Day and received a standing ovation from a crowd of 300 as they pointed out that guns are the #1 cause of adolescent deaths and that students should feel safe at school. From Herndon High School, Clarissa Dantas. Clarissa Dantas joined with her friend Sydney Ide to establish the Asian American Club at Herndon High School to assist other students feeling alone and disconnected from their heritage. They meet regularly for activities that help them learn about the many different Asian cultures. The club's main goal is to provide opportunities for bonding, acceptance, and mutual support among Asian American students. The club has created a safe space where students can feel included and have positive, candid, and constructive conversations. Thank you. From Justice High School, we have the Muslim Student Association. Ahmed, Omar Shaheen, Ahmad Milad, Sargand, Rabi Ibadi, Aya Al-Masri, and I don't know if the last three are here, Isra Yusuf, Rital Mohammed, and Danya El-Durduri. Association and Justice fosters community for Muslims and educates their fellow students about Islam and Islamic culture. They held posters at International Night to raise awareness of the tragedies in the war-torn regions of Sudan and Palestine. This year, they plan to read a poem to shed light on the plight of those suffering in Gaza. They organized a school-approved demonstration to spread awareness about Palestine that was attended by a few hundred students, both Muslim and non-Muslim. A video of the event received some hostile comments online, but members of the club did not respond in kind. The club president says, "Instead of meeting hostility with hostility, we wanted to have a conversation. We took time to respond to comments with the message that Islam is a religion of peace." Thank you. From King Abdullah Academy, we have Isam Jazar. In response to the way the media portray manhood and the toll that takes on mental health, Isam Jazar worked with two classmates to start Men Talk Mind, a space for students to talk freely and to know that they're not alone. Isam went on to co-found an online store that offers a brand of streetwear. The store has the slogan, "Where fashion meets compassion," and includes a peace collection with the goal of spreading love, hope, and a sense of community. A portion of the sales has gone to support families impacted by the devastating circumstances in Gaza, as well as to sponsor a child in Malaysia. And sales from one of the shirts raised $3,500 for earthquake victims in Morocco. From Lake Braddock High School, Manas Puri. Manas Puri believes that there are many ways to think about peace and has demonstrated it by the panoply of volunteer activities on which he has worked. His Eagle Scout project was to organize litter cleanup and the development of a community garden in his neighborhood's common area. He serves on a Lake Braddock committee promoting diversity and inclusion. For the Honor Society, he serves as community service coordinator, planning, organizing, and monitoring student community service projects. Last summer, he volunteered with the U.S. Department of Education in the Office of Civil Rights. Over this school year, as an intern with Leadership Initiatives, he raised money for medical equipment for a Nigerian hospital and had worked with a team to support an impoverished entrepreneur in Nigeria. I don't know if Anya is here, but from Langley High School, Anya Rizvi. Anya was one of 10 students in the United States, 5 Jewish and 5 Muslim, chosen to participate in Rightopia Lab's Connecting Across Cultures initiative. The students met for 8 weeks by Zoom to exchange their experiences, including incidents of anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in their schools and communities. Their written expressions in the form of stories, poems, and narratives are contained in a book, Connecting Across Cultures, a collection of writing by 10 Jewish and Muslim American teens, published last year. During her sophomore year, she founded the international online youth literacy magazine, Words with Weight. The magazine, with 4 annual editions, is centered on social justice, politics, and introspection, and has featured hundreds of contributors from more than 40 countries. From Lewis High School, Madison McLaughlin. Madison McLaughlin McLaughlin co-founded Lewis High School's chapter of Students Demand Action, a youth activist group committed to ending gun violence. The Lewis chapter partnered with the local Moms Demand Action group to distribute 100 gun safety locks at a community event shortly after the Appalachia High School shooting in 2024. During the 2024 election campaign, Madison organized and participated in Get Out the Vote canvassing efforts for a member of Congress who believes in sensible gun reform, and organized around 20 students to phone bank in the final days leading up to the election. Thank you. And from Madison High School, Hunter Guthrie. Hunter Guthrie has been personally baking and preparing bagged meals for the Embry-Rucker shelter since middle school. He went on to approach first Panera and then other local businesses to donate their unsold food and began transporting it to the shelter several times a week. Many other students now join Hunter in addressing food insecurity. Using the county's reporting system for volunteer hours, he has solicited the help of over 300 private school, public school, and homeschool teens from Fairfax County. Not only has his work benefited people in need of food, he has done research that was presented throughout Virginia to show that food waste through conversion to methane is an important contributor to the climate emergency. Thank you. From Marshall High School, Galia Sackley. Galia Sackley grew up in Tunisia speaking French. And experienced the social isolation of coming to a new country and not speaking the language. As a leader of the Marshall High School Ambassadors Club, she has worked with new students to help them navigate the school environment and make friends. She is also a member of the UNICEF Club, which has collaborated with the ambassadors to collect food and coats to help people in need in the local community. She also started the Music Gives Back Club, which gets together to make music, but also to talk about current events and reach out to help others, such as people affected by Hurricane Milton last year. Thank you. From McLean High School, Bushra Ayakamanoor. Bushra Ayakamanoor is a social activist and student leader in McLean High School's Muslim Student Association, coordinating guest speakers and helping to organize the annual interscholastic competition. She helped organize a student demonstration at McLean to bring attention to the needs and rights of refugees and immigrants. She also uses her Instagram site to communicate her personal insights on the difficulty experienced by civilian communities affected by war, including the plight of civilians and refugees in Gaza. She is also active at her mosque, providing food services to families in need. Thank you. From Mount Vernon High School, Jennifer Villavolo Sands. Jennifer uses her interest in health and medicine, along with her bilingual background, to help other people. She advocates for health literacy and health issues in her community. She has presented information about high blood pressure to local community members. She co-founded the Medical Majors Club at Mount Vernon High School for students interested in the medical field. She helped with a blood drive, assisting with the work and encouraging peers to donate. Leveraging her bilingual background, she also tutors elementary and middle school students in her neighborhood. Thank you. From Mountain View High School, Julia De Vera. diagnosed with alopecia areata, a disease that affects people of all ages, genders, and racial and ethnic backgrounds. She has used her experience to become an advocate for better awareness of mental and physical health. Last summer, she was trained as a legislative liaison for the National Alopecia Areata Foundation, spreading the word on Capitol Hill. As an artist, she uses her skills and talent to create works that represent the struggles associated with the disease. She has also taken on the role of youth mentor to help younger students understand that they do not have to be afraid or hide. She tells them, "You don't need to be fixed because you're not broken." I don't think Isaac is here from Oakton High School, but Isaac Rodriguez, his love of fishing and respect for the sport, when done with care for the environment, motivated him to establish the Oakton Fishing Interest Club in his junior year. The club collects donated fishing equipment and plans to post signs near the fishing ponds encouraging attention to the environment. Isaac hopes that the club will encourage other students to fish and experience the inner peace that can come with fishing and being outside on the water. Thank you, Isaac. And from Quandah Road School, Jonathan Johnston.
Hi, Jonathan.
Jonathan J.J. Johnston finds inner peace in his artistic work that has produced a positive influence on all aspects of his life and on the people around him. The school staff report that his positive leadership has resulted in his ability to calm down students and to help his classmates understand that avenues other than anger can help them get out of negative situations. His ability to admit fault, ask forgiveness, and offer understanding and forgiveness to others is admired by his teachers, as is his ability to place himself in other people's shoes that he can understand their point of view. Well done, Jonathan. From Robinson Secondary School, Jasmine Scleroux. Jasmine Scleroux directed, wrote, and edited Ghost Girl, 3 Stories, 1 Reality, a professional quality short film that presents 3 young women who describe personal experiences that highlight ways girls are often criticized, limited, and even abused. It was an all-female student project. Both male and female viewers of Ghost Girl indicated that the film's examples help them to better understand the issues many girls face. Jasmine is also part of the Founders Ensemble at Precipice Theater Team, which seeks to develop collaborative productions featuring social action issues to spark dialogue among viewers from diverse backgrounds. She is helping the nonprofit to develop a film division to create films on social action issues. Thank you. From South County High School, Ghazi Zizo Hanania, I believe, is not here today. So Ghazi has been advocating for an end to the war in Gaza. He and a group met with State Department officials responsible for Middle East and Palestinian issues and diplomacy. He has created a website highlighting the suffering of the Palestinian people and the daily bombing Gaza has endured. He wants to use this website to help people understand what residents of Gaza are going through. He hopes that awareness of the bombing and the destruction of infrastructure, homes, hospitals, and the resulting mass starvation will help everyone see that the only true path towards peace is to end war. Thank you. From South Lakes High School, Janavi Nandanandabon. Oh, I missed it. Oh, sorry. Okay. Janavi the 3-day 2023 Global Festival held on the Mall in Washington, D.C., which was attended by 400,000 people and broadcast all over the world. The goal for the festival is to create a visible public forum to celebrate our differences. Genevieve was part of a 250-person Indian classical symphony joined by 600 dancers. She commented that we were celebrating the unity of humans and showing how we can overcome conflict through sharing our culture and artistic diversity. A worldwide audience sees that peace can begin through cultural exchange and understanding. Thank you. From Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology, we have the TJ Send a Smile Club. Yusra Wahibidi, Claire Guo, Aset Bekele, Maria Peralta, and Sarah Abrar. Dedicated to supporting their school and wider community and building positive relationships with established groups and individuals, the TJ Send a Smile Club uplifts and empowers others by sending smiles and messages of compassion and solidarity. Club members have found numerous opportunities to provide practical and emotional support to others, including people with breast cancer, younger students at nearby elementary schools, the TJ bus drivers, women at a nearby shelter, and Moroccan citizens after a devastating earthquake. In the words of the club's leaders, a smile is the universal language of care and connection. Our mission is to share that connection and bring light to those who need it most. Thank you, TJ. From West Potomac High School, Salahi Najib, I didn't get a chance to learn to pronounce your name, so sorry, but I'll give it a try. Salaha Najib is president. Salia, thank you, Najib. Is president of West Potomac's Muslim Student Association and founded and leads the Marhaba Club, which helps immigrant students feel more welcome and provides school supplies to those who cannot afford them. She initiated cricket games to help students from South Asia to feel more at home. She mentors younger students, offering leadership and academic advice. She also helped establish a room for students to pray and meditate. She has brought together students from several clubs, including the Muslim Student Association, the Jewish Student Club, the Black Student Union, and the Hispanic Leadership Association for meetings and socializing, seeking to negotiate differences and tensions among students of different religious and national backgrounds. Congratulations. From West Springfield High School, Simone Samuel. Growing up in Ethiopia, Simone witnessed the devastating impact of violence firsthand when armed forces attacked civilians in his neighborhood. This left a lasting impression and ignited his commitment to support those affected by conflict. As vice president of West Springfield High School's Spartans for War Victims, Simone helped organize efforts to collect and distribute clothing, school supplies, and hygiene kits to war-torn regions, including Ethiopia. He led a letter-writing campaign to the U.S. Congress, advocating for increased humanitarian assistance for war victims globally. He and the club worked with Muslim student associations across Fairfax County to invite soccer players from 30 schools to participate in a fundraiser that raised $5,000 for humanitarian relief. In addition, he is now the executive director of Give Youth, which provides free tutoring and mentorship to over 3,000 students. From Westfield High School, we have Westfield United Sports. Lily Wilson, Charlie Yule, Blake Sanders, and Joey Wyatt. Westfield United Sports works to promote community building and inclusiveness between Westfield's general student population and students with disabilities, who often feel isolated or alienated from the other students. Unified Sports promotes understanding and inclusiveness through a shared participation in sports. In its second year as a club at Westfield, the mission of United Sports is to provide training and athletic competition in a variety of sports for students of all abilities. The hope is that participation in this program will create unique teammate bonds through sports experiences, just like any other sports team, and promote inclusion, acceptance, and understanding that everyone is different and brings value to our club and to sports. Thank you. From Woodson High School, Haroon Khan. As a son of immigrants from Pakistan, Haroon Khan is keenly aware of the challenges that come with adjusting to life in the United States. In response, he has tutored 3 children of recent immigrants in English. Another interest of his is using technology to help people. He is developing a web-based application that helps people prevent food waste in their homes by donating soon-to-expire food to local food banks. He also serves as the media manager for Woodson's Environmental Club, which has worked alongside master gardeners to grow, harvest, and donate close to 1,000 pounds of produce to local food bank Food for Others. Congratulations. Did I forget anybody? No. Oh, good. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'm now very happy to introduce our guest speaker, Megan Corrado. Megan Corrado is the Acting Deputy Executive Director of Alliance for Peacebuilding, an award-winning nonprofit and nonpartisan network of over 225 organizations working in 181 countries to prevent and reduce violent conflict, and build sustainable peace. She is an international lawyer and working to promote human rights, peace building, gender mainstreaming, transitional justice, and post-conflict legal and governance reform. She has worked on democracy and peace-building programs and processes in conflict-affected and post-conflict states across Middle East and North Africa region, Southeast Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Eastern Europe.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Thank you all for being here. I am so honored to be sharing this evening with you all. Congratulations. What an impressive group. I am so inspired by all of your hard work and accomplishments at such a young age. I'm honored to be here and always love spending time with students. They're always a bright spot in my week. I'm an adjunct professor over at George Washington. I teach gender and women's rights under international law and foreign policy. Coming into that classroom every Wednesday night, it's been a tough few weeks for us in the peace building space, so seeing them is always my joy, and this is an honor to have a second joy with all of you this evening. Today, the world is experiencing record-breaking levels of conflict. Democracies are backsliding, and over 300 million people require humanitarian assistance. To address these challenges, it is more important than ever that we all get involved at every level of society, in our homes, in our communities, in our schools, our states, our countries, and beyond, to address them all. These problems are real and complex, but reading about and hearing all the work of these talented young leaders gives me hope that together we can build a better future. As mentioned, the Alliance for Peacebuilding, AFP, we're a membership-based organization. We have incredible folks doing incredible work all over the world, day in, day out, often very thankless. I work on policy. I try to ensure that there are strong legal and policy frameworks to advance peace and ensure that our members have the resources to do so. Aside from advocacy, we undertake extensive research to improve programs and make the case for investing in peace building and conflict prevention initiatives. We also do lots of capacity building, events, and other convenings to share knowledge and ensure that the field can continuously evolve and get stronger. Many of our members are based here in the DC area, many in New York, Chicago, Boston, LA, throughout the US, but more than half of them are from the Global South. Some of our members work on intensive track 1 negotiations to create peace between warring parties. Some work to influence the United Nations, European Union, African Union, other multilateral and regional bodies. And some work at the national level. But the vast majority work at the local levels, here at the community level, like you. And much of their work is very similar to the exact initiatives you're spearheading. They are working to promote awareness about the needs of marginalized and vulnerable groups. We heard numerous examples of that. They're creating spaces for dialogue and exchange to promote respect, understanding, and empathy amongst groups. They're facilitating community service projects. They're bringing attention to the needs and rights of immigrants, refugees, and other new members of the community. And I was moved by how many of your initiatives include things like art, writing, film, music, sport, dance, even fishing. All of these are so critical because they're part of the everyday human experience, and they are platforms to connect with other people. Now, the majority of AFP members work every day to address the root causes of violent conflict, of extremism, and to create stronger communities and countries where all people have the opportunity to live in peace and dignity. This work is vital, as it prevents the need for expensive military and humanitarian interventions. But make no mistake about it, this is extremely difficult work. It takes time, it takes trust, it takes relationship building, and doing things like addressing long-standing grievances, discrimination, and impunity from past wrongs. Moreover, it takes persistence and patience. Early in my career, I focused on conflict resolution and post-conflict transitions, helping countries coming out of war to create new constitutions, new laws, and other things to help them stabilize and move forward in a democratic fashion. I helped draft peace agreements. I advised them on the development of transitional justice mechanisms to promote accountability for the crimes committed during the conflict. I'm going to date myself, but I started my career amidst the Arab Spring. The wars in Afghanistan and Iraq were over a decade old. The world was in a fraught position, but I was excited to get to work on solutions and got to do some very interesting high-level work. But I was reminded very quickly how personal conflict is and the stakes involved when trying to build and maintain peace. In these early days, I was leading a few programs in Yemen, but based here in DC. I met a young Yemeni woman. She was here in Washington on a fellowship at one of our area think tanks. We would see each other all the time at various working group meetings, events, etc. Got to know each other a bit, but it's a pretty formal place. It was more exchanging pleasantries, shaking hands, things like that. A few months later, she returned to Yemen. A few months after that, I had the occasion to travel to Sana'a to support the Yemeni National Dialogue. As I walked into the hotel where we were convening these discussions, I saw this very small figure sprinting across the lobby in my direction, very fast. And it was her, it was Fatima, coming to greet me. We embraced, and she quickly jumped up and gave me 3 kisses on my cheeks, and we laughed. And when I say jumped, I mean literally. I had never realized how tiny she was when we were here in DC. But she was talking about it, so excited to see me, asking about my family, my work, inviting me to her house to meet her family. It was overwhelming. She was just a beacon of warmth. Maybe 15, 20 minutes later or so, after that very lovely greeting, I realized how big her spirit was, even if her stature was small. As we gathered for technical meetings, her voice was the loudest, the most adamant, and the strongest, arguing for a future where women, all women, were included and respected. In a space predominantly filled with men, she commanded the room. I was in awe of her power, her agency, and her advocacy. We kept in touch over email, social media, WhatsApp, things like that. But about a year later, when the Houthis took over the capital, I stopped hearing from her. The last update I have, she had been detained. In the face of potentially losing her freedom and her life, she remained committed to advocating for women's participation in all facets of society and a more peaceful, democratic, and equal country. She never backed down. I don't know if she's dead or alive, but I carry her huge spirit with me everywhere I go. Her hope for a more peaceful and equal country and world informs my work every day. Through this and experiences throughout my career, I realized how important it is to work to prevent conflict in the first place. Rebuilding societies, the social contract, infrastructure, the rule of law in the wake of a conflict is tremendously challenging. But if we can prevent full-scale conflicts from taking place, we can save so many lives, so many resources, and so much needless suffering. At AFP, we fought to create a canon of law that directs the US government to support prevention. My job as an advocate is to push the government and Congress to do better. Since the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan, there has been less and less appetite for US interventions abroad. My argument, however, is that a small investment in prevention will reap robust returns. Centering peace and conflict prevention in US foreign policy and assistance isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. It's strategically sound, and it's cost effective. For every dollar invested in conflict prevention, save $16 that would otherwise be spent on expensive humanitarian or security responses. Prioritizing conflict and atrocity prevention can help the US compete with its geopolitical competitors, it can save American taxpayers money, and it can build a big group of long-term allies and partners to advance US interests. So with these ideas and arguments in tow, we hit the hill. We went to Congress and we managed to pass 3 different laws that promote conflict prevention. One's called the Global Fragility Act. We spearheaded the development of this and advocacy for it, what we call the GFA, in 2019. It calls for the identification of 5 fragile countries or regions where the US assistance and diplomacy could potentially prevent conflict and the spread of violent extremism. The law required the Department of State, USAID, and the Department of Defense to work together, which up until this moment was not very done often or well, so it was actually quite a new concept. But to come together to create country-specific strategies on how the US would engage in these 5 places over 10 years. Again, which is very different than the way normal foreign assistance goes. It's usually just a year or 2. There is often long-term strategic thinking. What's unique about the GFA is that at its heart is learning. The idea is to create these strategies and try new programs, learn what works well and scale them up, learn what doesn't work well, pivot away, try new things, and become as effective as possible. And then over time, apply these lessons, and not just in the 5 countries, but all over the world. The second law was the Women, Peace, and Security Act. The Women, Peace, and Security Agenda was created around 2000, was formalized in the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325. The WPS agenda recognizes that women and girls are disproportionately impacted by conflict and crises, and that their involvement in political and peace decision-making increases stability. Women are not just victims of conflict. Their involvement in peace processes in particular increases the probability of peace agreement lasting at least 2 years by 20% and at least 15 years by 35%. And a key pillar of the WPS agenda is ensuring women's role in preventing conflict. So we helped develop and advocate for the WPS Act, passed in 2017, which requires the government to create a new strategy and plans, provide training and resources to support women's role in conflict prevention and resolution all over the world. I'm very proud to say this was the first piece of legislation in any country to formalize the WPS agenda. Last but not least, the Eli Wiesel Genocide and Atrocities Prevention Act. Atrocities, we know, destabilize countries. They trigger mass displacement, humanitarian crises, and create grievances and chaos. In 2019, the Eli Wiesel Genocide and Atrocity Prevention Act was signed into law. This also required a whole-of-government atrocity prevention strategy, mandated training in the US government, foreign service officers in these at-risk countries, and reporting to Congress. These laws received overwhelming bipartisan support and created a foundation for rethinking how the US engages around the world. Although the future of these laws and U.S. foreign assistance is currently uncertain, we have already learned a lot of lessons from their implementation. So we're continuing to push the current administration to implement the laws, but also are sharing lessons and making the case for similar ones and approaches with other governments and regional multilateral organizations. While I will continue making the case for prevention and peace building globally, we still have much to do here at home to build peace and prevent conflict. And it requires all of us. Peace building gets a bit of a bad rap. People don't necessarily know what it is. It seems like you need a master's or a law degree to be involved in this field. But at the end of the day, we are all peace builders. We prevent and resolve conflict every single day in our homes, in our classrooms, in our communities. And to address what feels like an increasingly polarized world and country, it will require all of us to be peace builders and to be advocates. So much of these incredible young leaders' work recognizes the value of collective action. And from my experience at AFP and throughout my career, I've noticed that collaboration is absolutely vital and often proportional to the scale of impact. We cannot do this work alone. It will take all of us. So to you, my young leaders here, keep going. We need you now more than ever. We need a new generation of leaders to help us learn from our mistakes, to bring us together, to serve others, to prevent conflict, and to broker peace here and around the world. And after hearing all of your incredible work, I feel like we're in good hands. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I think, for me, one of the most interesting parts of this is the realization that you can actually have a career making peace, right? And we don't just have to wait for it to happen between wars. We could actually try and make it happen. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Now it's time for our group photo. So what we'll need you all to do is grab, what did we decide, 10 chairs, and turn them around here, and you'll receive further instructions from the photographers, and then everyone else can go have a cookie.